Alrighty folks, welcome back to Plain Fun RC channel, and I'm your host Saul, and we're going to be working on installation of the servos into the ailerons. You can see the flaps over there. They are still, the epoxy is still curing, as is the epoxy on the side there, the inboard side along the fuselage. So we're going to let that finish curing. Let's go ahead and get into the ailerons. Now, so a couple things. First of all, I purchased these amazing mounts here from F3A Unlimited, as you can see there, and that is the servos, by the way, are the Savox servos. Now these Savox servos are just amazing. They will put out, they're working 7.4, 8.4, and they will put out upwards of 700 ounces of torque in a standard size servo. So they are absolutely just stunning, just amazing. But anyway, you can see the Seacraft. These are side mount servo holders. Let me turn these on the side. This one, you're seeing the back portion. Here's the front portion. And it's really neat how they actually attach. They just bolt in place, and that little tiny tab right there, as you can see, holds the servo, and you wouldn't think it would hold it securely. It holds it very securely. They're a gorgeous candy apple red, and now they do have different sizes. This particular one works for Savox and Futaba, and they have another color in a blue, which works for JR, High Tech, and some of the other brands as well. Now this is version 2. Version 1, which is available at f3aunlimited.com. That's the website, f3aunlimited.com is who sells it. This is version 1, so you can see how the servo would mount there, and then when we turn it on its side like this, you can clearly see the mounting holes there and there. So this is version 1. Once again, by Seacraft. That is the name of the company. S-E-C-R-A-F-T, and their website. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Is www.seacraft.net. F3A is one of the American distributors, and they sell all of Seacraft's products. I can't recommend them enough. They just have some amazing stuff there. And a couple other things. Let me just share with you what I also got from Seacraft was these wonderful one-touch canopy locks. I'm thinking about maybe using these to help hold the canopy in place. But they look amazing. They're extremely well made. So we'll look at those as well, and a couple other things. But when we get to the canopy, we'll dive into what we might be doing in greater detail. Anyway, nonetheless, so we have a couple things that I had some concerns with that I reached out to the manufacturer about. Number one, let me see if I can show you on this particular wing here. Let me pull back a little bit. So you can see, we're looking at the bottom of the wing. You can see how it's cut. Now keep in mind, the wing is one piece laid up in a mold, and then the aileron is cut loose, but it has a nylon hinge. And if you look carefully, you can see the nylon there. This is how the flap would normally have been hinged. It would have had a nylon hinge that's actually built into the actual plane itself. So that would have happened, and then of course it's already pre-hinged, and so the flaps themselves would have also used the same technique. My concern was this: if you look at the leading edge of the aileron here, it's just this open foam. It's a dense foam, just like the foam we saw on the flap itself. So I reached out to the manufacturer and I asked him about that. He says, no, that's normal. He said, that's how they cut it, that's how they use it. So I'm a little hesitant, but I'm going to probably go through and maybe fill some of this in, because this is just foam and it really needs to be, if you're going to paint it, I think it needs to have more of a finished look to it. Also, look on the inboard side here of the wing. Look how it's just an open gap. And then when we look on the inboard side of the actual aileron too, let me see if I can lift this up a little bit. I'll actually go the other way instead. you can see that's also unfinished. And the outboard is the same. Tip this down a little bit. And then of course the outboard portion of the aileron is basically the same thing. It's unfinished, as you can see right there. So I had my concerns. I mean, not that it's not well made, it's very strong, but I like a more finished look. And when he cut it, you know, there's a lot of gaps here. Now the gap, it's a gapless top. Let me show you the top of the wing with this wing over here. You can see, tip this up, the top of the wing is gapless, which is really nice. Gives it a very clean appearance. And with the wing sitting there, you can see on the inboard and outboard sections, the gap is very small, as it should be. But it's the bottom portion that is just really kind of, it's an unfinished look. And as a modeler of 42 years of building, you know, I'm just a little bothered by that. But outside of that, I have no other complaints with it. It's a great wing. So anyway, here is our mounting plate that we're going to be mounting. It's a very thin but very tough fiberglass. So we have to trim off a little excess here. We're going to be mounting the servos. Now, most of your experienced builders, as you know, when you mount servos in a wing, you typically mount them like this, where the servo arm is facing up. But this is going to be different. This one, we're actually mounting with the servo arm facing down, and the push rod is going to come up at a steep angle, up from the arm through here, and the horn will be sitting right here. So it'll be interesting. I've never done that before, but his thought process is that you don't have the arm sticking up, and thereby you have less drag, because the whole plane was built for racing more than anything. I mean, it'll be great in sport aerobatics, but nonetheless. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to mount this one to the plate itself. We're going to mount this one to the wing. We've got to build some reinforcements underneath the wing here so we can mount it. He is recommending 4mm screws, which he provided, but we need some kind of backing there. So this is the beginning of an interesting process, and stay tuned, more to come.